Welcome back. Gene Henley, Chattanooga Times Free Press, SoCon pregame show. Thank you all for watching. Don't want to be long today. Had some recording issues, storage issues with the iPad, so doing a little bit different, trying it from my phone today. We'll see how it works. Again, as always, give me feedback. Let me know where I can be better. Let me know where I'm wrong. I'll tell you why I think I'm right. That's all I can do. That's all we can do. I don't think I really spoke about this before, but I did play college basketball for 4 years. I have a child who's a freshman at Belmont Abbey. Right now, as we speak, they've got a big game in the manual. Looking forward to watching them play at 4 o'clock. Their conference tournament starts. We'll actually be at Wofford here in a couple weeks. Looking forward to getting up there, spending some time up there, and then obviously going to the SoCon tournament later part of the week. So it's going to be a fun time of year. March is just a fun time of year. I hate that we've whittled this sport down to just basically 3 weeks and a bunch of just random storylines that what player here, but that's I think but that's where we are. So I think the SoCon is obviously a great league because it's not just built off of like superstars. All levels have them. Obviously I watch all college basketball. SEC. I don't see as much Big 12 as much anymore. ACC, so on. American, OVC. I watch a lot of basketball, and I study a lot of analytics that go along with it. So you see, you can kind of digest. You can kind of see all the different levels, what teams work well with what, and who the great teams are. So, anyways, don't want to keep you too long today. I'm already a little bit behind schedule. I do apologize for that. So 5 games, 5 storylines, kind of whittle, bang through it real quick and keep it moving. Also, Belmont Abbey, big game against Emmanuel today at 4 o'clock. Number 23, Belmont Abbey, 6'5", 185. Not quite as athletic as his dad is, but a lot better in a lot of ways. Anyways, looking forward to watching them play at 4. So UTC at the Citadel, 1 o'clock. UTC's been kind of 3 different teams this year, 2 really, but they didn't have Trey Bonham for the first 9 games of the season. You kind of look, they were struggling a little bit offensively. By the end of that, they had lost 3 of the last 4. One of those losses, they blew a 20-point lead against Evansville. Then they lost to, I believe, Morehead State and Lipscomb, 2, again, good teams, but you could see Morehead State, the offense was good. Lipscomb, not so much. Then they became really good once Trey became eligible. He's gone. They were really good Wednesday against Wofford. I'm not saying Wofford has the greatest defense in the world, but they still put up 80-something points. So Wofford had some good moments defensively here lately. So definitely want to see if they can kind of keep the momentum going. Side note, Honor Huff playing his way into SoCon Player of the Year conversations because I don't think there's a definitive answer. We'll get to that here in a week or so as to who the Player of the Year is. I don't think it's as clear-cut as we want it to be. And I think the voters will say that just based off the standings. So Western Carolina at VMI, also a 1 o'clock game. Last time, Western had a 3-game losing streak before the last meeting against VMI. And that was kind of what the doctor ordered. They lost a couple games tight here recently. The game against UNC Greensboro a few nights ago. And I think that, again, we spoke about this before. Biggest issue with Western right now is just they just don't have the depth. They've got 4 guys playing like 3/4 of the game. They've played 3/4 of the season. You got guys playing 85%, like 75% of the minutes in each and every game. You can't take these guys out. You can't rely on your bench to give you scoring. And that's what you need. It's good to have 4 role players coming off the bench, but you got to have a guy that's like, Coach, I can give you 19 today. Or you can rely on a guy coming off the bench and give you 12. But you're going to get the numbers from Woolbright. You're going to get some good shooting from Jackson and Jones. You're going to get some good stuff from Campbell. And then what? If they can figure out how to get 15 points off their bench, they're going to win. And I'm saying collectively, not even specifically a specific person. 15 points from their bench, they'll be fine. they'll be finding a lot of these tight games because they're losing them because they're getting so much from the starters and nothing from the bench. And you recruit and you take chances, and sometimes it's just not the right combination. And it seems like it's kind of where they are. It's like they just don't have enough depth. And I think if you were to talk to the coaching staff, they may say the same thing. Wofford at Furman, game of the day in my opinion. That one intrigues me. I think obviously Wofford won the first meeting. Furman has a 1-game lead in the standings. Obviously, if Wofford wins this game, they'll hold any tiebreaker advantages over them. And I think that Wofford's probably a year away. I think I spoke to some Wofford people earlier this week, and I feel like they are a year away. All their players are coming back next year. If they can add a quality piece, freshman portal, however you want to get it, or maybe and then get some development from a couple guys. Like, they'll be a top 3 team in the league next year based off what we see with UTC, Furman, and Wofford. But like, Furman is very interesting. You look and you see, you kind of hear some stories about some stuff that had happened, and I don't want to delve into that with personnel, but when they're right, they're good, and that can't be disputed. When they're right, they're good. I think they've got 2 players that are just so valuable to the team, in Foster and obviously Pegues, who another guy that could work his way into SoCon Player of the Year conversation, in my opinion, because he's just a killer. He's a killer. Like, what he did in the second half against Sanford was just amazing. But, and like, look, Vanderwall, I think Vanderwall's done a really good job for them. He's tough. He's had some good moments. So we'll see what happens. Like, I think, Furman needs that game a lot more, and it's at Furman. Wofford will play average all season and then look great when they play Furman. But I think Furman at home, watching how they've played, should be enough. And if they can just get to that, if they can just kind of get some momentum going into 2 weeks from now, you just never know, because that is a team that, although their struggles, is still really good. ETSU at Sanford. I think this was interesting because you've got the number 1 offense this season versus what's recently, and thank you to the ETSU people who pointed this out when I said off the last podcast, the number 1 defense in the league when Karan Boyd has been available. And I spoke with Brooks about that a while back, and he brings a toughness to that team and to that defense, and it's interesting because it is a team that is basically built off toughness. Like, what does ETSU do well? Like, they compete. And competing really happens on the defensive end. If you compete like they do, you're going to give yourself a chance in every single game. The offense is really just get the ball to the rim, get offensive rebounds. That was a tight game when they played a 3-point game, I believe, in Johnson City. Sanford, I think is still playing with the purpose. If they win today, they clinch a share of the championship. Last year, they had a chance to win the championship on the last game of the season and got blown out by Furman. I think they remember that, and I fully expect to see them play a lot better today, especially as they play well at home. Last game, UNCG at Mercer. This one had some fireworks at the end. I remember watching the end of that game and seeing the handshake line. Won't go into details, but there was some action about, let's meet in the tunnel and let's settle this like grown men. And so let's see where the emotions are in that game, because look, we forget because the first thing I talked about is the post-game fireworks. Mercer won that game, not UNCG. UNCG would be comfortably in second place if they had won that game, because obviously they split with Chattanooga. Both teams got swept by Sanford. So, and they each have one of those pesky losses. Obviously Chattanooga lost to a really good Furman team, and UNCG lost to Mercer. So, where's the intensity level of that game? Like, they had, UNCG had its lull. Let's I'll maintain, I think that they're the best team in the league. They're also not the deepest. But if they can again kind of figure out how to get 15 points off their bench. He scored 6 points in that game off the bench against Western Carolina. If they can figure out how to get a few more points off their bench, I think that their core group is really good. I think that's a start. I think that's a championship caliber starting group, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, like as we stand right now, kind of go through the standings real quick. Sanford has a 2-game lead over UNCG and UTC. Sanford cannot fall below 3. So, obviously you've given yourself a chance. I think 1-2 is kind of where you want to be. 3 gives you a game. You don't have to play a team that played Friday. 3 through 6, you don't have to play a team that played Friday. So, like, I don't know if there's a good spot to get in. I think there's matchups that people don't necessarily want, but I don't think there's a perfect spot you want to be in. Like I said, UNCG and UTC are both 11-4. Furman is 9-6. Wofford 8-7. Western 8-7. ETSU and Mercer are 6-9. The Citadel is 2-13. VMI is 1-14. So, good chance today. The league has a chance to get 4 20-win teams this year, which I think is really impressive. Sanford's already there. UNCG's already there. If Chattanooga wins today and Western wins today, or if they just win one more game, they're going to reach 20 wins. And I think it's been a couple years since they've had 4 20-win teams. So really good to see about the strength of this league. I think the league, I think they're 13th in terms of like Ken Palm ratings, which is, again, a good rating. They were top 10 a few years ago. I think it'll still take another year or two. Some stability with the coaches. I mean, I don't really see that many coaches getting the sort of opportunities that, this cycle that they may want to leave. I'm not sure that there's any coach in this cycle. Maybe Sanford, maybe Bucky McMillan. He'd be the most likely, but what job would he want to take? Would he want to leave Alabama, the state of Alabama? And maybe he ends up like a UAB or something. But again, I'm not trying to get him out of there, because what this league needs is stability. It's been a while since there's even been a repeat winner. Like, teams don't win back-to-back championships in this league. In the time that I've covered the league, which started back in 2014, then took a 2-year break in 2019 and 2020 when I was covering Tennessee, and then since then there's not been a repeat winner. Davidson won in 14, Wofford won in 15, Chattanooga won in 16, ETSU won 17, UNCG won 18, I believe Wofford won 19, UNCG won 20. I'm sorry, ETSU won 19. Let me get this right. No. Sorry, I wouldn't mess this up. ETSU won, because I'm doing this off the top of my head. I'm not looking down. I've got notes, but not that. Let me go back. Davidson 14, Wofford 15, Chattanooga 16, ETSU 17, UNCG 18, Wofford 19, because that's when I remember I was covering the SEC, and UNCG, Wofford almost beat Kentucky. ETSU 20 because Steve Forbes got Wake Forest after that. UNCG 21 because Dave West Miller left. Chattanooga 22, Furman 23. So you don't get repeat winners here. And look, Furman has a chance to do it. But, I think if you bring back all these quality coaches, you're only going to see improvement within the league. If you have coaches that are coming back, and I don't care about, it's a different agent, but no, it's not. Still, continuity wins titles. I'll say that till the day I die. Continuity breeds success. It wins titles. You're not flipping your roster every year and winning championships. I'm sorry. If you don't have anybody that starts your culture, you're not winning championships. You see the teams at the top of the league, they're not the teams that completely flip their roster. I don't care what you say about Sanford. They still brought back a multitude of starters multitude of key players. Achor, Marshall. Like, their biggest addition was Ryland Jones, who, again, another potential Player of the Year candidate because he's just important. He was their big addition. Staten McRae was back. Campbell is back. Marshall is back. Achor is back. It's 4 guys. Understand your culture. Number 1. Everybody's like, Chattanooga brought back everybody on their team. Brought back 4 players. Yeah, Honor Huff's been in the system. Demetrius Davis been in the system. That Trey Bonham, he hadn't been here, but he's been in the system. And if you look at the best players, they're all guys who kind of understand the system. Sam Alexis, system. UNCG, they lost a ton. Oh God, what's going to happen with them? I wasn't sure myself. I said that it could go either way with them when I wrote my Substack of preseason. In the preseason, it could go either way. It's gone the right way. Why? Because they've got culture. Langley twins, Mikael Brown-Jones. That's three guys right there who understand what you're trying to do. Furman brought back everybody. Now, obviously, they lost Shaq and Kobe, but everybody else is back. So they're not as good as they were last year. It'd be disrespectful to suggest that a team that loses Shaq and Kobe is going to be better the next year. And they've struggled. They've struggled figuring out some moments at the end of games. And they've lost some tight games. But they're still good. They've got culture. Wofford got culture. They needed change. And, with Dwight Perry, had a chance to meet him the other day. They got culture. They'll be fine. Western Carolina brought back a lot. Probably could use Tyshawn Cloud a little bit right now. But they brought back a lot. They're 19-9. I get the struggles within the league, beating the top tier teams, but still in a good spot. Everybody else had a ton of turnover for some reason or the other. Either they had a ton of turnover, they just don't really have great players. It just is what it is. So at the end of the day, if you've got continuity, you give yourself a chance. If all these coaches come back next year, this league is 13th or so right now. It could be a top 10 team in the league. Top 10 league in the country. Anyways, told you I didn't want to keep you. I kept you a little longer than I wanted to. I always just like to ramble because it's just who I am. Anyways, enjoy your watching today. Enjoy your day. My name's Gene Henley. This is SoCon pregame show. Probably try to record again tomorrow, post-game show, or hopefully we can kind of bang out the 5 games and let's look at a couple things going ahead into the last week of the season. Anyways, have a great day. Enjoy your team. Go your team.